Welcome to Le Foot, your podcast about French football. In this week's episode, we give you the latest from Ligue, with OM crushing a brave Lens team and Hendrix Lyon, Gary O'Neill Strasbourg flying high, PSG back up top. We also cover the dramatic ending in the Champions League phase for M, PSG and Monaco. The club of the week this week is RC Strasbourg, and we look ahead to the upcoming matches in our favorite league. Let's go! Hello, Dennis and Jeff. How are you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
All good? Had a good week so far?
Yes.
A lot of football?
Yes.
Any favorite things to pick out?
I think the game Lens and Marseille was very interesting.
Great game.
And then especially Marseille going from that game and then playing against Bruges.
Disaster.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that. Jeff, what's your take from the week?
No, good. Nice to be here again. We had a little meal before heading into the podcast. We had like a Big Mac wrap.
Amazing.
It was very nice.
Amazing. I have to do that again. That was spectacular. It's like a luxurious McDonald's hamburger.
Yeah, and it felt more healthy. It was good. No, but I'm doing well, thank you. Busy days, but always nice to be here.
So all you do is work and watch football? That's it? A bit of gym?
A bit of gym, yes.
Gym boy?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to, I told you just before this, I'm heading to Spa Day on Saturday, so in 2 days from now. So I'm looking forward to that. A bit
Very
of
nice.
relaxation.
You and the Marseille players after the cold shower they got in Bruges.
Yeah, we have invited Rosenjur also.
Just for good company.
Just for good company.
Good vibes.
That's great. First game, we have Marseille versus Lens.
What a game.
What a game.
And also we talked a bit ahead that it was a bit uncertain how this game is going to play out. But what actually happened, I didn't expect, because the start of the game, Marseille comes out with such speed. They attack from the first second and they are running full speed all the time. After just a few minutes, you have Guiri scoring. A bit lucky, I feel, with deflection.
Yeah.
But still, 1-0 and the Velodrome explodes. And from that moment on, I felt like Lens had no way of coming back. They tried, but the game was all the way OM.
Yeah.
But it went where they wanted it to go. As you said, they came into the game extremely loaded, the Velodrome behind them, and then scoring that early goal, it just give them even more empowerment to what they just before said in the dressing room, right? So,
Some new signings as well with energy coming in. You have Timber and Waneri from Arsenal, and instant impact.
Yeah, and Guiri, I don't know, is it his first game back from AFCON or?
No, I think he's been playing.
Yeah, the week before.
Yeah, because the strange thing I find here as well, if you look at just last week, they were playing Liverpool, and the attacking force was lame. I felt they felt cold. And here you have Greenwood out on the bench, and instead you have Nwaneri coming in, and the energy level, I mean, you can feel it. You can touch it. You can touch the energy. And Guiri, playing away, I didn't actually know him to play. And when you watch a game with OM like this, I start to think a bit, why don't they do this more often? More often. What can it be that they are so different from game to game? This game it felt like they are chasing for the league title, not Lens. But they are far off. It was an important game for them, but they are still quite a bit off. And what do you think about the decision, leaving Greenwood out?
I mean, you can't argue that the decision was bad, since, I mean, Nwaneri scored, so it was favorable in that sense. But before the games, yes, I guess a few people, had a few question marks around putting him at the bench with the season he's had. Even though the last couple of games, maybe his providement of goals hasn't been the same as initially. And then I don't know if he had some strange thought that, we need Greenwood to 100% secure the Champions League advantage, which failed. But I mean, if he had some idea with that, or if he's been matched too hard in the last couple of games, because they had the Cup and the League and the Champions League now.
But this was a different OM, I think, for sure. This was something, at least for a while now, I haven't seen. They've been quite poor at home as well, losing to Nantes. This was completely different. It felt like their evening from the first second. And I think mentally also so important. If you lead 2-0 after 13 minutes and the whole stadium is boiling, there is, the volume is so loud. And then you have Thauvin back, you have great players like Sangaré, you have Saïd Lens, but you didn't really recognize them.
No, and I mean, just the last couple of games for Lens, I feel, they have won 1-0 or 2-0, something like that. They haven't really shown their greatest side. So this perhaps was just one of them games that took them back to reality, kind of thing, that you need to step up, and especially in the big games. And I think Edouard had a clear chance in the 20th, 30th minute something. So if he would have scored, perhaps, they would have seen a way to get back into the game. But besides from that, it was OM all the way.
Yeah, and I think this could be a hard hit for Lens, but we will have to see. They play already tomorrow, Friday, at home versus Le Havre. But really interesting now at the top, and PSG winning, so we have a change of scenery. But we'll get into the overall table a bit later. I also have to mention that this evening I felt like several OM players were performing well at the same time, and when a team has several players all doing great performances in the same game, you get to see this kind of picture. And I think Timothy Weah did it good. Højbjerg as well did it good.
It was very good.
Very good, strong performance in midfield. I mean, newcomer Timber as well felt at home straight away, and Waneri, I mean, his goal, the second goal there, when he takes the ball, drives it across half the pitch, and then places it in. It looks so easy, but it's not. That's just and I mean, he's still young, hasn't turned 20 yet, and he's been, of course, at Arsenal for several years now, even though he's so young. But it's impressive coming to a new environment.
Yeah, very. I mean, we talked a lot about Endrick, which we will continue to do in this episode. But this is also a very interesting loan signing that just came in this window. So yes, I totally agree. It will be interesting to follow on him. And I've seen a few games with him playing for Arsenal, and it's a nice player who I could see, really fit into the way OM plays, and also in the French league. With his capability of movement and speed, and also finishing.
For sure.
Metz Lyon. Endrick. What can we say? 3 goals, starting off with some excellent movement and a clash of ship for 1-0. Endrick's game.
It's crazy. You watch him play now and you feel like something is in motion football-wise. We're gonna see this player for quite some time, I think, on the big stage, because young man but keeps performing. And I think around 10th minute in this game, that's when things started, really happening. I think before that, first 10 minutes of a game, it's a bit even, but then you have a Lyon chance, and then after that the scoring starts, and 20 minutes later you have 3-0. And Metz they feel done. We talked about it in a previous episode as well. Like when they concede some goals, they feel done. And up against Endrick, insane. 3 goals. It's always, I mean, a hat trick is special. 1 penalty should be mentioned, but I think the other goals is like a class attacking player ahead of us. I think good game from Morton as well.
Yeah, but also there with Endrick, I mean, yes, he scored 3 goals, 1 was on penalty, but there were definitely possibilities to score, even a 4th goal. He had a couple of great chances in the second half also. I mean, some which he created out of nothing, by himself. So yeah, very impressive performance.
The amount of situations he ends up being in where he can score is insane. And he's a dangerous player, overall dangerous player. He can create them himself, as you said, or his teammates, they can do things. But I think the first goal of Endrick's, I must say, with Tolisso, I mean, the way he takes down that ball, Amazing
Wow.
touch. Amazing
Wow.
touch. And then placing it in. Tolisso as well, we need to mention, doing a great game and doing a great season so far as well for Lyon. It's fun to say. But I must mention a bit Metz. The defense, Jegbe and Collin, I think terrible performance. I think it's part of the explanation why they are where they are in the league. And I think it was a mismatch, this Lyon attacking force, and then these defenders not delivering.
Yeah, tough one for Metz. New coach also, first game ahead of this one, Benoit Tavenot. And I mean, you can't judge him out of his first game, but were there anything tactical wise we could see? I mean, you said about the defense, we didn't see any improvements there, but what does he have to bring to the team apart from, a spirit of trying to secure the contract? Like, what does Metz need to change? What does he needs to focus on?
I feel that Metz really need to get sorted in the defense. We talked about it when they played PSG, when they all went up on a corner being naive and then dropping in a goal. Because attack-wise, I think Diallo, Sitsashvili and Hein, they are okay players. And they can continue. They score a few goals here and there. But I think defense-wise, I mean, Gibamin, Jegbe and Collin, all three, I think, is below average right now, even for a bottom team. And for the coach to try to sort something out, I unfortunately think for the fans, they're going to have to be a bit more cynical. They can't go out playing games with the game plans they currently do, especially these good teams. They need to try to rob some points as well. The new coach, I guess that's the mentality he's bringing, to save a sinking ship.
Yeah.
But do you think that's the instructions he'd been given from the board? I mean, just to make the contract. He has some past experience from coaching Metz, I think it's 2019, 2020, as an AS coach. I mean, he has some experience from the city and the training ground and everything, so perhaps he can bring some of that passion back to the team.
I mean, could be. But I think sorting out the defense, all credit to Lyon this game, but I think sorting out the defense will be crucial. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm just thinking about Lyon though, and I mean the run they are at for the moment, doing great in the league, 4 wins in a row. But to be fair, they haven't played great opponents.
No.
I mean, now Metz, who's in a bit of a rat hole, and before that Brest, who had a red card. I mean, Andrik's been doing good in those games also, but it would be nice to see Lyon now when they actually play a better opponent.
Yes.
Going into also the advantage stage of the Europa League.
The Coupe, I mean, they're going to play a lot of games. So I agree with you there that it's too early to say whether the whole team has gone through a Endrick transformation, because they need to run into the tough opponents still for us to make an assessment. And especially, I can't, get rid of the thoughts of this Mets defense in this game, and it was a mismatch. So I totally agree. We need to wait and see. One interesting thing, I think, attack-wise, is that we had 18-year-old Mira there doing an assist for Lyon. And I also want to mention that there was a certain player staying on the bench for the whole game, and I'm wondering if he's going to stay there. Or Sulch. Is he there to stay in the bench, or could this be that as a lot of games, they have Europa League as well, and he needs some rest?
Yeah, definitely. I think this has to do with the fact that they have played a lot of games recently.
I think he should stay there.
And they were playing Metz, who's not a great side at the moment. They have capability for other players. I mean, they have Morton, also in the midfielding position, who's been doing a great season, or had a great season so far, who even scored and assisted in this game also. So,
but I think as a sporting director here, I must say that it would be better if Sulch actually stays, and let's see if the young players can carry on with this form. Because if you think about sellable and future, Lyon had trouble economics in the summer. I think if we think about players with capability to sell, Endrick is a no because he's a loan. And then we have Sulch. I think Sulch is not a player they're going to sell for any big money, given the character of style of play and age. But I think then
He's not too old, to be fair. He's 25, and I mean they brought him in from Victoria Pilsen this season.
and that's probably where he's heading back next.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think they broke a fortune, to get him. So,
Of
I mean,
course.
considering all the games to get ahead, also they'll get the use of both Sulc and Mera.
They're gonna need him. But I'm just thinking, if you think about the planning of the whole team structure, I think that at some point Lyon should start thinking about the future, and I think Mera could be an option when you have, a crazy attacking player like Endrick doing fantastic thing. Why not keep a 18-year-old there, do some tap-ins, take some returns and score some goals, get some points, get the value up? Because with Sulk, we know what he gives, and what he gives is great. But at the same time, you need to start planning a bit. You also have the team structure overall. I think you have some players with routine. For example, Tolisso has been fantastic. You of course have some young players, but I think you need to continue. Now he got an assist. If you win 5-2 versus Lens, I think a Sulk goal here or there is not gonna do much in the long run. But
Yeah, we'll see. Interesting take. I mean, it'd be nice to see Mera continue playing and see what he can provide for the team. But they're playing
still in the Sulk part of the pitch. You want to see Sulc?
Yeah, I think he's been great this season. Again, I mean, they got a lot of games ahead playing.
He will
both
play,
in
and he
the
should
league
play.
and the Coupe, so they will definitely need him.
Going back to Endrick, will he be the next superstar of Europe?
Right now it feels like yes, but I still want us to circle back to what you mentioned, Jeff, that the opponents so far, I think, it's not already giving me the 100% sure that he's going to do well on the biggest stage. I see a great player, but we need to see him for the rest of the season, like he's doing now, playing games. What he's showing definitely gives the top quality star player vibe.
Yeah.
But I think they need to play PSG. We need to see him against some top quality defenders. I don't know what you say.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what we do need to see him against, and he will play the big teams in the league and also in the Europa League games coming up. Since Lyon's been doing really well there.
We need to check though if he in the end part of Europa League if he will be eligible to play given the loan. We need to double check that one. I'm not certain if they cut after the league phase. We need to double check. But I agree with you that you mentioned the other week he needs to play minutes, and he's getting minutes. But I'm not sure that Real Madrid is looking and saying he's gonna definitely start given the star players that they have. But they are also in trouble, so maybe they are looking and wondering why did we lend him out.
But who would he replace, considering the options Real Madrid have at the moment?
Exactly. I think it's hard. I think it's hard for him to make himself a spot. He needs to score plenty goals in Lyon and then do a great summer training with Real Madrid for him to even make a statement. Because, I mean, you have Kylian Mbappé up there. He's untouchable, and he should be untouchable. So let's see. But next star, I think it's going to be a star. How big of a star? I'm not so sure yet.
Time will tell.
Lille 1 and Strasbourg 4. A very one-sided game, I find it. And Gary O'Neill's third victory. Who would have thought that he would be taking tricky away wins?
Very impressive. And Strasbourg today, I think, from the first minute they played very brave, sharp, combination football. Great game from Strasbourg. A lot of interesting name in the squad also. So, yeah, very impressed.
Panicelli keeps scoring goals.
Yeah, he does. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he continues with this form that a top club in Ligue or within the other big leagues in Europe would be interested in signing him.
Some brilliant minutes, because I mean around 25th minute you have him first turning around and scoring a proper striker goal, and then just a minute after he does a one-touch assist to Enciso, and it's brilliance. He's performing at a high level now, Panicelli.
Yeah, when we spoke a lot about Godot also. I mean, another great player with the pace he can contribute with at the wing. Also very interesting, and the combination play, the top 4 players have. I don't know what Gary O'Neill has given them in the dressing room. Maybe a bit of British discipline to the players.
You mean the former coach Rosinho couldn't do? Maybe more management consulting from his side?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they're happy just to get rid of him.
But they feel different. I think that with the speed, I mean, Godot, you mentioned, the runs he made.
Yeah.
I mean, first he's with the chest kind of scoring his first goal, 3-0. And then the 4-0, that run.
Yeah, that run was insane. Passes out to the assist and into the penalty area, and it's just what a fast-paced player.
It's amazing. And then on the other hand, on the other side, I mean, they score a goal 90-plus minutes, maybe a consolidation goal for Lille. But I think Lille must be wondering a bit, they're poor form now.
Yeah, they were harmless.
And I think it was one team on the pitch, I think, from early on. And of course, they had some attacking happening. And Giroud, I mean, he did some Giroud things when he's trying to flick the ball towards the goal. But overall, I think manager Farbos, he has something to think about.
Yeah, and I mean, what kind of signals does it send to the game? I mean, you're Lille, yes, you're in a bit of a poor form at the moment, but still, you're playing at home against Strasbourg. You're playing 5-4-1 with Giroud, what is it, 36, 37? Single
He's
up
even
top.
39.
Yeah, 39. I mean, single on the top. How are you supposed to, lead the game, play with some attacking football? And if you play 5-4-1, you would expect the defense to be stable. But I don't know, just the combinations that Strasbourg gave each other with this game, they were like a key opening every door that Lille was trying to shut.
And I think when you talk about that, I think they felt heavier. I think Strasbourg is like lighter, younger players, quicker, speedy style. And then you have, older Giroud up top. And of course, you have youngster like Boadi. I think Boadi almost always makes a good game. And we have to give him kudos. But you have a young brother Mbappé,
yes,
also not doing fantastic. And I think overall in the Lille team, I would say it's only Boadi performing at a decent level in this one. And then of course you have Fernandes Pardo scoring their goal, but overall in the game, straight up deserved victory from early on until the end.
Yeah, they really need to step up. I mean, they're playing Lyon, who's in great shape in the next game, and if they want to contend for the Europa spots like next season, they have to get back into shape momentarily. Yeah,
it's gonna be tough
because you got Strasbourg now, right behind them. You got Toulouse coming up there also. Lorient in great form. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Lille. With the way they showed up in this game and how they played, it didn't look well.
No, who would have thought that Gary O'Neill would stand for such a quick attacking football play, with the background he has in the English divisions somehow. I don't know. It's impressive. Maybe he hasn't changed anything from the brilliant mind of Rosinho.
Yeah, maybe he's picked up his handbook and he's continuing.
PSG is our new number one in the table. They took the position after the Lens loss against OM, and they also beat Auxerre on Friday. But that was a tricky one. And I think overall in the table, it's going to be super interesting now, the upcoming weeks, to see how Lens reacts, if they can actually give PSG a run for it, I find. But overall in the table, what more is happening?
No, but I mean, let's start there. Lens will now become the chasers instead of being chased. And I mean, it goes without saying they can't drop many or if any points if they want to climb back and secure the first place again and win the league. 2 points ahead quickly becomes 5. And then I think, the belief in the players of actually being capable of getting back there, it's going to be tight. So And for the league also, everybody wants this to be competition into the last round. So,
do you give OM any chance now that they, in the 6-point game, got the 3 points?
I mean, I remember I was speaking about this last week. If they would have win this game, they might have a chance to fight with them up there. But that would also have been the case if PSG would have dropped points against Auxerre, which they didn't. And I mean, looking at how they performed against Bruges, which we're going to bring up soon, no, there's no way they can compete to win the league. Top 3, yes, very much so, but winning the league, no chance.
No chance. And in the bottom, we have important results from the last weekend. I mean, Nantes continues the horrible run, and they lost at home again, and this against the crisis club Nice with Clopouet, new manager, grabbing all 3 points. And I mean, it's tricky to see now. The 3 clubs in the bottom, Nantes, Auxerre and Metz, they're a bit, there's a gap up to Le Havre. Paris FC continues to grab some points, and I think Paris FC is showing quality at times with Kebal back. I think it's gonna be those 3 teams battling off to get onto the stay-in playoff position, because I think the other teams are too good compared. It's tricky.
For the moment, it looks like that. I mean, Nice probably a bit of new fresh air, new coach in the dressing room. And that can bring something in for the team. Otherwise, I've been very disappointed with how they play. So I think, considering how they have performed, that they might also be in the relegation battle, also going forward. But yeah, the nest down there, and especially Metz now, it doesn't look well.
And I have a take here. I watched Auxerre play PSG on Friday, and I must say, a braver bottom team. I can't remember seeing a team playing as brave against PSG as Auxerre did. I mean, for long moments of the game, they just attack when they get a chance. Sometimes it's almost like with Danois, you have Sinayoko, Damaso. Their players, it's almost like they're playing a football that is too quick for their own good. And then what happens in the second half is that PSG actually needs to bring on Ousmane Dembélé and not rest him the whole game for Champions League. And he does, when they have a corner, Auxerre, they put the whole team up almost, similar to what Metz did in the past against PSG. And then a quick counter-attack, and you have Barcola scoring on a Dembélé pass to make it a late 0-1 result. But I think Auxerre, similar to the discussion we had to Metz, at some point, do they need to become more cynical? They are in the bottom now, but the difference I find with Auxerre is that when they start playing, it feels like they could beat many teams. But I think at some point you need to balance the cynical with the brave.
That's a great point. Also, just to add on top of that, unfortunate to concede that goal against PSG, but it's not against PSG they're going to take, the points. And I believe it would have been, if you would have been more cynical, you can always concede on counterattacks, playing a team of the capabilities that PSG have. No matter if you are, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, and how defensively you put up the game, you can always concede. But yes, I agree, it's a good point. But yeah, I think Auxerre, they have the capability of getting out of that relegation battle, because I think comparing them to Metz, for example, they do decent games, whereas Metz simply don't.
And that's the crazy thing. They're both on 11 points at the bottom, and I somehow find that it's unfair, because when you watch Auxerre play football, some sequences you would think that it's a top table team. And I mentioned Namaso, I mentioned Danois, Sinayoko, El Asusi, but I also have to mention from that Friday game, goalkeeper Leon. I mean, he kept them in the game. So of course PSG could have scored plenty, but I still think unfortunate that it's everyone going up on an offensive corner and then a counter-attack. Ballon d'Or winner gets the ball, passing the ball through to Barcola, and Barcola has missed some chances last week, but then this one he got. So, Club of the Week. Another club, another week, and this is Jeff. Take it away. RC Strasbourg.
Yes, thank you. And we've spoken a bit about Strasbourg today. It feels like we're always, when we talk about Strasbourg, we talk about Gary O'Neill, but...
Good old Gary.
Good old Gary, but the points I've decided to dig in does not concern Gary, so...
Rosinha?
No.
Oh.
Don't be afraid. So... the first point origins from where they're located geographically. So Strasbourg is from the region Alsace. And I've not checked if this has happened to any other clubs, but Strasbourg have changed nationality 3 times. It's been a part of France and Germany.
Whoa.
So, the club was created in Alsace. And was first a part of the German Empire, like back then, or after the First World War. And then they returned to France after the First World War, and then changed its name from FC Neudorf to the current name, FC Strasbourg.
Good old FC Neudorf.
Yes. Apparently they had great success during that period.
All right.
Yes. And then they became German again during the Second World War. And then now back to France.
Tricky history, that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are one of 6 clubs who have won Ligue, Coupe de France, and Coupe de Ligue.
Wow.
All right.
So, impressive.
So it's not a Tottenham trophy cabinet in Alsace?
No. They have both nice drinks and a busy trophy cabinet.
Nice food probably as well.
Yes. And much more, who knows?
Yeah. Gary knows.
Gary knows. But he enjoys the pints.
Yeah. But I think they have that up there as well.
I heard Alsace has quite good wine.
They do.
Yeah.
And their home stadium, Stade de la Ménon, has been the arena since 1914. So, for those of you who can count properly, that's more than 100 years. And that means that it's one of the oldest arenas that's still used in France. It's been renovated and expanded with seats, etc. since then, but nice. So I think for us, that might be, one of the stadiums when we decide to go and watch a game live, that could be a contender, drinking all the wine, having the pint with Gary,
Liam coming in on a private jet.
Who knows? And then I was, digging into some nice players. And I got a bit of a sidetrack first, because I read somewhere that Arsene Wenger had been a coach in Strasbourg, but that was not the case.
A player, though.
A player, but not a coach. So another player who's performed very well, and that I think most people might know, Kevin Gameiro. He started his career in Strasbourg before proceeding to numerous of clubs. Just to mention a few: PSG, Sevilla, Atletico Madrid. And then he actually went back to Strasbourg to finish up his career in 2024.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, quite recent finishing of Kevin Gameiro's career. I associate him with earlier years, kind of. But okay.
Yeah, he played it 2021 until 2024, but I guess he was not scoring goals back to back, on a weekly basis by then. And lastly, there are rumors that the club was close to getting bankrupt, but the fans reached out to save the club by, going into the souvenir shop, buying everything. Rumor says Liam Senior had something to do with it.
Okay, it feels like it's make-believe now, given Blue Co. But I guess this is way prior Blue Co.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
Financial trouble and French football clubs is it's a topic. We're going to handle that over over the course of time, of course, with even current clubs in financial trouble. But interesting to hear that the souvenir shop had a important role prior to the Blue Co. And we discussed, I think, a few episodes back as well, the Blue Co situation with the management carousel and stuff like that. So really nice to hear all these great facts about Strasbourg from Alsace.
Very nice. Now, Champions League phase is over for our French teams.
Finally, this long league phase with the long league is done, but we have drama until the last seconds for our French clubs. We start with OM in Bruges against Brugge, and what a knock. I think it's terrible. From the first minute to the last, I think this is such a disastrous display by the team. I think it's starting off with the Rulli mistake as a goalie in an important game. And not many minutes into the game, you're 2-0 Bruges. Brugge scores. This young, talented Brugge team, and I think OM, what a terrible display from multiple parts of the team. We talked about Greenwood coming rested. Greenwood achieving nothing properly in this game, attacking-wise.
No one achieving nothing. And I mean, coming from the game against the previous game they played against Lens, doing a perfect performance. Who would have thought, getting their pants withdrawn in Bruges. Yeah, useless performance. And,
Guiri as well, coming off that performance versus Lens and then doing this.
Yeah, but not only losing, also the outcome, everything, I mean, we had a crazy game, Benfica versus Madrid.
We have to stay there a little bit. What happened?
Yeah, but just to point out, like, the outcome of this performance, losing 3-0, was just not only losing the game in a horrible way, but they are not either, going forward in the Champions League. So it's just a doubleness of,
And you know what? After 3-0 in Bruges, I feel like they don't deserve to play more in the Champions League this year. They need to really look themselves in the mirror. I think Traoré, Guiri, Greenwood, I mean, almost everyone on that pitch. Rulli has been fantastic this season in goal. But when it mattered the most, because they're not going to have anything to say when it comes to the league title back in France, when it mattered the most, they performed the worst. And I think, of course, we have to give some credit to Brugge. You have Vermont. You
Stankovic,
have
2 assists, 1 goal. Amazing performance.
Amazing performance.
Young talent.
Yeah, and an overall young team doing great things. But I think OM, this is not acceptable. And I can imagine the OM fans fuming. I think this is parallel, as most people in the football world already know now. You had Benfica playing Real Madrid, and you have the Benfica goalie in the last seconds of the game coming up, scoring the goal, improving their goal difference enough to put OM out. And to make matters worse, I'm not sure, have you seen the sign on the big screen in Bruges? Brugge actually put up congratulations to Marseille that you proceeded to the next round. And then a few minutes later, down in a rainy Lisbon, you have Trubin scoring a historical goal, because that goal is going to go down in the history books. It puts Benfica through and OM is out. It's spectacular drama. I'm amazed, but I'm also furious in a way, because it's unnecessary. How can you go and lose your most important game in a while with 3-0 against a young Brugge team?
I don't know if they went out in Marseille after the Lens game, a big hangover from the team, because, starting from the back, I mean, you mentioned that Rulli had some soap on his gloves.
Slippery hands.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, the back four, none of them performed well. Medina, Aguerd, Balerdi, Murillo, no one. And
overall bad.
I mean, take Højbjerg, who was doing such a great game against Lens. Shit performance.
I think in a way we don't want to give any good grades to any single OM player here. It's not no. And the Serbia, I don't know. I don't know. I'm starting to get a bit tired of this every other game great performance. They scored 5 at Angers in the league, and then they went up against Liverpool 0-3 at home. And then you have the great performance against Lens, and then Greenwood now being rested, coming back, and you have this performance again in the Champions League. And this is not Liverpool. This is Brugge. PSG Newcastle 1-1. Both teams are true, but actually we have 2 losers in a way because they now need to get into the playoff phase. PSG came out dominating. I mean, they are a better team than Newcastle, and they show that. Penalty, first couple of minutes, Dembélé actually misses, but it felt like it wouldn't do any harm because Vitinha scores a great goal shortly thereafter. But then I feel like Newcastle climbed their way back into the game with the counter-attacking.
Yeah, very much speed on both edges. I mean, Elanga is known for his velocity on the wing. Willock also, I mean, scored a goal, had a great game. And looking back at it now, I mean, it's easy to say, but it was just one of the games that you could expect in terms of the way it was played. I mean, PSG did dominate. I mean, even I think it was Anthony Gordon who said that after the game also. But throughout the game, you know, Newcastle had their moments and had the possibility of scoring another goal also. And it's just be one of them things. Both teams actually, you know, beforehand had to win to secure a top 8.
Yeah.
None did. 1-1.
Two losers in a way, but I think we're gonna get into a bit what's remaining now when it comes to the playoff and potential teams that they can face, and I think the draw is already tomorrow.
Yes.
But I think PSG now, I'm starting to see a bit of a pattern in a way, because Dembele is gonna deliver. Of course, he missed a penalty, any player can do that. But now you have star player Kvaratskhelia going off injured early, around minute 35, and I think that's a blow. I think Barcola, he scored a goal against Auxerre, but in this game again, we see Dembele, Barcola circling around the attacking spaces, but I think the final touch and the final ball into the box is not happening exactly the way I think they want it to. And when you think about striker options, they have Gonzalo Ramos coming in, but I'm starting to feel a bit, Gonzalo Ramos, is he a striker of PSG caliber? I mean, they have a history of Ibrahimovic, Cavani, Mbappé, and Gonzalo Ramos not being in the starting 11 in an important Champions League game, I think tells a bit of how the manager views this player. And of course, Luis Enrique maybe doesn't want to play with a proper striker like that. You know, he wants attacking players to have a lot of tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, he wants the mobility of, you know, I think the top 3 and also the midfield to, you know, create equal chances for all of them really to score the goals. But I'm a bit, you know, drawn here, or not sure, because it feels like there's, you know, a little bit of tension from Dembele not starting every game. You read in the news that he's not happy about not playing 90 minutes week in, week out. Is there a bit of tension there? And then at the same time, we see players as Gonzalo Ramos, Barcola. Are they performing this year at the same level as they did last year? Or is the expectations just too high from a supporter perspective, given the fact that they won the Champions League last year?
I think the expectations are super high, but I also think they should be super high. I mean, it's one of the richest clubs in the world. They won the Champions League. Of course, it's going to be a tricky one defending that championship, because not many teams do. I think Real Madrid has had the capability to do that in recent times, but in general, it's a very difficult trophy to win back-to-back. But I do think it's high, but it's not too high. I think they should have a lot of expectations. I think this whole flickering with the starting 11, though, I'm not sure. I don't know, to your point, how Dembele is feeling about it. I think he had a bit of injury problems in the past, so maybe he's happy resting. I'm not sure. And I think Kvaratskhelia now going off injured. You have Lee Kang-in already injured. To be back soon, though, the Korean. But I think when you look at this one constant quality, and I think the fans, they will always be happy with Vitinha. Because week in, week out, he is playing and he's performing. It's like a midfield engine.
So. But I just want to go back to that with the expectations. Okay, the expectations are super high. Then why aren't people now, fulfilled, given the fact that they secured the first place in the league again? They have numerous of wins in the bag there. You could say, that they didn't get the top 8 spot in the Champions League, but they were very, very close to. You have teams like Real Madrid above them who did secure a top 8, top 8 is all that matters, right? No one cares if you get number 1 or number 7. Liverpool came first last year, they lost against PSG, right? So yeah. I'm just saying, if they would have won the game yesterday, they would have been top 8, top of the league, and people still think, there might be some tension, they're not playing as good as they should be. But then isn't that a good thing? They're number 1 in the league, close to securing the top 8, and there's so much more to take from the players and the team going into the most important months of the year.
It's true. The time to be the best team in the world is actually gonna come soon, because they are in all competition, not the coupe, must be said, but they're ahead of the league. They are still in the Champions League. PSG are also, to your point, they are fine in a playoff. We'll talk a bit later about the teams that they could possibly face. They will be fine. They will be through, but they could have possibly an easier path to the later stages if they actually won. And I think one thing that I can understand the frustration is that you have back-to-back Champions League games, Sporting Lisbon, and now you have Newcastle, where PSG, in the numbers and if you look at the game, they should win. They are good enough to win, but they are not winning. And I think no matter how good of a team you are in the hierarchy of football, that's always going to be frustrating. Champions League night at Parc des Princes, great atmosphere. The fans want to see, they want to see a victory, and they want to see them pass through. And also with this injury, I'm thinking why they don't want the playoff now is because of the injury situation. They have important games in the league, they have Champions League, but yeah. Monaco, though, they are through. We were very harsh after that Real Madrid defeat and Lorient defeat, but they are through, and they actually, I would say they were the better team against Juventus, and I did not expect that. I did not see that coming. Monaco is, they had a goal disallowed as well from Balogun. It was a push. I think some referees will let that go, and then we would have 1-0. But if you look at that game, Monaco-Juventus, I think 0-0 is pretty okay. I would say that it's fair. But if any team were closer to the victory, I would say by far it was Monaco. Juventus didn't create much. And we have been harsh on the Monaco defense, which with all right. Jeff, you've been harsh on the manager as well, Pochettino. But given this performance, I would say Kehrer, Tese, Wanderson as well. I think it's a good performance defensively from Monaco.
No, I agree. I think I was the one executing them last week, saying there was no chance that we're gonna get a draw or win for that matter, and then go through to the knockout stages. But they did, and they played a great game against Juventus. So yeah, this is hopefully something they can build from and take forward, because we know, looking at the squad, they have the players to perform a much better football than what we've seen from them most recently. So exciting to see if Monaco can build something on this going ahead.
Also, looking ahead now into the Monaco heading into the playoffs, same with PSG, and I'm going to tell you guys who they can actually face. So PSG will face either Karabakh or Monaco in the playoff. Monaco will either face Newcastle or PSG. So for Monaco, it's going to be a tough ride no matter what. For PSG, I think they are big favorites against both Monaco or Karabakh. So no harm done. Extra games to be played, though, which in an injury situation is not favorable. Looking ahead to the upcoming weekend and the Liga action, Dennis, what game are you looking forward to the most?
I think I'm looking forward to the most Paris FC and OM. I think given Marseille's latest games, it's very interesting to see what's gonna come out of this.
If it follows the pattern, this should be a 5-0 win, given that they come off a terrible result and a terrible performance.
Yeah,
because our thesis, right, is that every other game they are superstars, and every other game they play in the 4th division.
Yes. It's so strange to see, but very entertaining.
Yes, with Kebal Paris FC, playing football. Jeff, what's your game of the weekend upcoming?
For me, it's only one game this game week, and it's the late Sunday clash between Strasbourg versus PSG.
If Gary O'Neill gets his 4th win in a row there, I think already somewhat of a legend, given all the doubters before his arrival.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first proper test from him, and it'll be interesting to see if they play as bold as they did this week, considering that they're playing a far, far greater opponent this time. It'll be very interesting. And, Strasbourg at home, I think...
Panicelli, 2 goals.
I'll give it 30% chance.
Okay, so it's an even one. The outlook is even. But I think as well, given PSG coming off a lot of games played, I mean, they played tons of games now, Champions League, back-to-back. They have league games. They had a tough league game against Auxerre. Well, Kvaratskhelia is not going to be available, I'm sure, after that tackle. It's going to be a good one. But already tomorrow on Friday, we have Lens going off against Le Havre at home. And I think they're going to have to look at a straight victory after that OM game, because I mean, they were completely ran over. I think it was a bit of a shock, and I think mentally it might be tough, but there is no looking back now. They need to continue, because by Sunday evening, if they win, pressure is still back on PSG to get a result, because Lens will be back top of the table. I think Said, you have Thauvin, Sangaré, top players gonna be hungry to get back onto the winning streak. But it's a great weekend coming.
What do you think Le Havre's chances of grabbing a point or win against Lens are, and what do they need to do to break their spirit and give them the threatening that Marseille did? How can they compete against Lens? What do they need to do?
The advice that I would give would be a low defense, because the quick attacking from all the way from the back that Lens has been great doing. If they defend low, I think they could stand not of victory, but of a draw or victory. I would say 30% chance. I would give 70% chance for a Lens victory, but they have to defend low. I think Le Havre, you still have some interesting players. I think Sanganté in the back, he could do a great game and keep Lens at bay, but it's gonna be tricky. I would give Lens a higher, I would be certain that they would win. But after that game against OM, I'm not sure mentally where they're going to be, because it's tough to see the first position go back to PSG. PSG is the kind of club that keeps on winning. It's tough. But
I think, Le Havre, they struggle with the goal scoring. And apart from last game from Lens, defensively they've been so great. So I think the biggest struggle from Le Havre will be to score a goal.
Yeah.
And if they do score one, they might get a draw. But otherwise, I think Lens is gonna go and grab another 1-0, 2-0 victory.
So Given, the way you're putting that, I can agree, because Lens probably gonna score. I think the only hope for Le Havre here is keeping a clean sheet. But Thauvin, you have players, Said as well, Edouard, they're all going to be super hungry.
And they are good defensively, Le Havre. They've not conceded that many goals. So defensively, they're quite stable, but it's about the goal scoring.
Imagine if Lens follows up that OM defeat with a 0-0 at home to Le Havre. I would say that PSG is, we can give them the trophy.
Yeah.
They need to win this one. They need to win this one. This kind of game, it's a must win given their position. As always, it's great to have you all here. We want you to follow us on socials at Le Foot Podcast. Subscribe to us, give us a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. And again, tell a football-loving friend. For queries, you can reach out. Anything, you reach out at lefootpodcast@gmail.com. But now we want you to have a great day and see you next week. Au revoir.